Welcome again to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today we are going to do the third video in my series about IPM, or Integrated Pest Management. Now, like the two previous videos that I did up above, the first video basically described what integrated pest management is all about. The second video described some of the less toxic ways and the better for the environment ways of controlling pests in your yard. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to classify pests as anything you don't want in your garden. There's diseases, there's insects, and there's weeds. So IPM covers controlling all of those. Now, with IPM, as I've described in my previous videos, we always work from the least harmful to the environment to the more harmful to the environment methods of control. Now, I know there are some people who are completely adamant that you don't use chemicals in the garden. And now we're going to discuss why that is probably misunderstanding what a chemical actually is. Let me show you some of the products that I have. So here we have some of the products that I use in my garden. And if you'll notice, they're divided up. And why are they divided? Is it the bad chemicals and the good natural products? Actually, no, it isn't. Number one of the misconceptions is if you garden organically or are somebody who is very careful about the environment, you don't use chemicals. Now, every single one of these is a chemical, and there's one chemical in here that is the most harmful to the environment, and we're just going to get rid of that one because we will never use that in my garden, and nobody should ever use this in their garden. And I'm being serious. Salt is very damaging to the environment. The reason it is damaging is it will kill any plant it comes into contact with. It stays in the soil until it's washed out, and when it's washed out, it just goes somewhere else and damages other things. So salt is out. We're putting that away on the garbage can where it belongs, although I do use it in cooking. Now, what are we left with? We have man-made chemicals, and we have some that are found more in nature. And I use both. You can say, well, why would you use harmful chemicals? Well, sometimes it is necessary. It is always my last resort, and I very rarely use these, but they do come in handy and they are very useful. So let's go over some of them and see what we have. Now, first thing we have here is vinegar. It's a very popular recipe to combine salt, vinegar, and dish soap to kill weeds. Number one, we threw away the salt. Salt is not going to be used. And vinegar can be useful. It will burn the top of weeds. It will kill annual weeds, but it will not kill the roots of perennial weeds. Also, another thing to consider is that using any substance that is not labeled as an herbicide is actually illegal. The police aren't going to come haul you away because you used vinegar in your yard, but it's basically because this strength of vinegar has not been tested and studied and to be used as an herbicide. So I have never used vinegar as an herbicide in my garden, not because it's illegal, but because it's ineffective. So vinegar is moving, not to the garbage can because it can be useful, out that way. And now we're coming to some more natural products. There's neem oil. Neem oil can help prevent some, as you can see on the label here, it's fungicide, miticide, insecticide. It has a lot of great uses in the garden. Now, just because this is a natural product does not mean you can just go use it on anything and it's not harmful. Natural products can be harmful. You always have to read your label before you use any product, whether it's natural or man-made. They're all chemicals, remember? And one example is my Sluggo Plus. This is going to be the first time I've used this because the earwig invasion this year has just been out of control. I've never had to resort to insect control of any kind other than hand picking or my more natural ways that I described in the previous videos. But this year I needed something else. So you can see here we have spinosad, as the ingredient and iron phosphate. All of these are natural ingredients. The spinosad is a naturally occurring bacteria in the soil, and they will kill insects. Now, this is a natural product. That does not mean it's safe. It's registered OMRI, for organic gardening, but it will kill bees. So you have to be very careful how you apply it. Apply it when the bees are asleep. Same goes for like this Furlough Triple Action Plus. It has pyrethrin, natural product, neem oil, another natural product. This one is not registered as organic, but it does have products in it that are found in organic pesticides. So now let's go over to this other side. We have the ubiquitous glyphosate. Yes, I do use that, and I'm going to be using that tonight, and I'll show you the different places that I use it. And I only use glyphosate about 3 times a year because that's the only times I need it. Weed Be Gone, which causes more issues than glyphosate, but nobody talks about it online. It has 2,4-D and quinclorac in it. 2,4-D can volatilize. That means it turns into a gas above certain temperatures and drifts long distances. And if you have grapes or tomatoes, they're very susceptible to that. So if you notice your grapes or your tomatoes, the leaves not just curling but being warped, maybe somebody in your neighborhood up to a quarter of a mile away used Weed Be Gone on or any 2,4-D product on a hot day, a hot windy day. So read the labels and follow them so you don't cause damage to your property or to others. Another one that I'm going to use tonight is 7 or Carbaryl. Now let me show you where I've been using this. These are my beautiful little purple ruffled basil. Now I do not eat these. I use them for, because they're gorgeous. They're an ornamental for me. And this is my 4th planting. Every single time I've planted these, no matter how big the plant was, eaten to the ground by earwigs overnight. It's only when I started using the Carbaryl, or 7, and we're going to try and get up under the leaves too as much as possible. It's only when I started using that I actually got them to grow. Now we are spraying this at night. The bees are all asleep. We're only spraying it on this plant. This is the only one that needs it right now. And that's one area where I will use man-made chemicals as pesticides. Now, after this video is over, I thought about mixing it up for the video and showing you how I spray it. I do have a little bit left from earlier this spring, but I was going to show you how I spray it. It's kind of hard to do it with just one hand. So let me show you where I spray Roundup or glyphosate. I do have a lot of weeds in the cracks. It starts looking furry and gross, and I will use the glyphosate in the cracks in the street. Now I don't go willy-nilly and just blanket spray everything. I target spray each and every weed. Another place that I use it is around the edges of my garden. You can see grass that had been growing through my grape hyacinths. The grape hyacinths are now dead. Well, they're not dead, they're dormant for the summer. I can go ahead and spray the grass through here. Now there are plants that I don't want to have the glyphosate touch. I just adjust my nozzle so that it's a very thin spray. I don't let it be highly pressurized so it doesn't end up drifting in the wind. I don't spray it when it's windy. But I do get rid of grass in my flower beds that way. Let's talk about weeds in the lawn. I do use the Weed Be Gone in my lawn. And a lot of the reason I use it is because I have neighbors who very much care about their lawns and do not want dandelions in them. Matter of fact, one of the first questions I got when I moved in as a single mom with young kids, and my landscape didn't look anything like this. It was all lawn, no fences, no gardens, nothing, just all lawn. And it was a sea of dandelions. And I thought they were really quite pretty. But the neighbors came over, and the first question they asked is, "Hi, how are you doing? we're so glad you're in a neighborhood. What you going to do with the dandelions? So I know they care. And because they care, I care. So I do spray my dandelions. And let me show you one thing that I don't spray because it doesn't harm the neighbors. Oh, before we go over there, I don't spray all the dandelions. There are some in here, but I also don't eat them, so I don't, it doesn't matter to me that, this area has been sprayed with Weed Be Gone. And I target spray all the weeds. I don't blanket spray everything. So now if you look carefully in my lawn, I have yarrow. And I love the yarrow in my lawn, so that does not get sprayed. Now everybody has different tolerances in what they want to use on their property and how much weeds or how many pests they can tolerate. And there are products to help everybody in their different needs and desires. So you need to go out and look at your property and decide where your tolerances are. Is it hard for you to tolerate weeds, or do you like fields of dandelions? Either way, IPM, or Integrated Pest Management, can help you manage your property. So if you have any questions, please post them in the link below. Enjoy your gardens and have a wonderful Garden Wise adventure.